Ph.D. student in clinical psychology at Howard University. My research explores resilience factors that buffer the negative impact of childhood adversity on later mental and physical health. So the main theory I'll be talking about with you today is one of the main theories that I use in my research, and I'll talk more about that. I also work with kids and teenagers, teaching them relaxation techniques and emotion regulation and coping skills too. I'm also a singer-songwriter and musician. I'm from Los Angeles, but I've lived here for the past 8 years, from undergrad at Howard and now grad school at Howard. Yeah, I've been performing around in the area. This is the basic overview. I want to tell you guys about some studies that have been done looking at the effects of music on the body, emotions, the brain, and then also walk you through a theory that we use to kind of understand what's happening in the body when we are doing deep breathing, when we're singing, and when we're listening to music. And then also just when we're engaging with other people as well. And that theory is called Polyvagal Theory. So I'm going to give you on the front end some science, but then we're going to get into some experiential exercises too. Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and hop right in. So these are just some select studies that have been done on music. So does anyone listen to music to calm down and relax?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So interestingly, there have been some studies that have essentially supported just participants rated that by listening to relaxing music, they did in fact feel more calm afterwards. So if you guys were in that study, then what you just reported would support that. So there's also been studies that have found calming music, reducing the stress hormone in the body, cortisol, as well. And there have also been studies that have found that music to relieve a negative mood as well. These studies are related to some of the structures in the brain that are activated during while listening to music. So there's a part of the brain called the amygdala, and that part of the brain is associated with us looking out for threats and looking out for danger, and then also responding defensively to protect ourselves from threats. In some of these studies, they were interesting. They played scary music, and people without amygdala impairment, they rated that the music scared them essentially, which is what we would expect. But the people with the amygdala impairment, they did not rate the music to be scary. So because the amygdala was impaired, they weren't able to sense the fear and danger from the music. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's true actually, because I know, but I actually was so caught up in music one time that I actually stumbled on my bike. I couldn't sense the danger yet.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so you were sensing that on multiple levels. Yeah.
It was true.
And our little kind of risque study right here. So listening to music activated some of the same brain regions as euphoria, so some of the same regions that are activated with sex, drugs, and even chocolate. So I listed out some of the structures that are increased activation, and these were using a PET scan. And then, interestingly, we just talked about the amygdala. So while listening to pleasurable music, the type of music that gave these people like chills down their spine, the amygdala decreased in activation, so they didn't feel a need to assess for threat. And then also this ventral prefrontal cortex decreased as well. So those were some studies. Now I want to talk to you guys about a well-researched theory. This is by Stephen Porges. This is called Polyvagal Theory. So this theory is one of the most used and influential in terms of trauma treatment. And it's all about this vagus nerve, and we're going to talk about that in more detail. So polyvagal theory is all about how the nervous system responds to threat, and also how the nervous system facilitates growth and healing when in a safe environment. So you see we have our fight or flight, and then that was my friend's party that we were just having a good time at. So we'll talk a little more about that. So polyvagal theory, it's about, at the root of it is the vagus nerve, so I'm going to talk to you about that. And again, the vagus nerve plays a role in responding to threat and facilitating growth. So the brain has 12 different cranial nerves, and the vagus nerve is the 10th of those. So it is involved with the regulation of digestion here, and this is considered the old vagus. So as you can see, this yellow part ending on the intestines and the stomach. So interestingly, when people tell you to trust your gut, this is a physiological explanation for that, because essentially your body is actually sensing threat in the environment and always assessing how safe you are. So these nerve fibers are actually sending messages up to your brain. So when you trust your gut, there's, that's actually there's an anatomy, physiological structures to that. Polyvagal theory talks about these higher ones being adaptively, or mammals evolved to adapt and develop these. So these are related to the lungs, and we'll talk about that with deep breathing, and also the heart. And then are there musicians in here? Any musicians?
Yeah. Me.
Okay. Oh, okay. What do you guys play?
Percussion.
Oh,
All
percussion.
kind of percussion.
You said percussion?
Drums, yeah.
Oh, drums and
different
percussion.
drums from Africa.
Oh, sweet. And what about you guys? Yeah.
I play piano.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. Piano. Yeah.
Guitar and sing.
Oh, guitar and sing. Okay, sweet. Yeah. So we're going to talk about melodies, and also, interestingly, the vagus nerve is on the larynx and the voice box as well. So we're going to talk about those things. So. Let me know if I'm using a lot of jargon and things like that. So the vagus nerve is related to the autonomic nervous system, so that essentially is those functions of the body where we don't have to think about, or we don't normally think about, so breathing, our heartbeats, and digestion.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll say that. So that's the vagus nerve, and we're going to talk about there's 3 main vagal responses. So 3 different ways that the vagus nerve is activated or decreases activation, and how that responds in the body, or how the body responds to that. So we're going to start off with the social engagement system. So essentially, that is our goal. During the social engagement system, we do not assess any threat to be in our environment. Everything is calm. We can relax, take our jackets off. We're cool. And in the social engagement system, in this calm state, we're able to interact with others in a safe way. And then in this system is when healing and growth and resilience occurs. So during this social engagement system. So when we think about us as musicians, and we're in a jam session, we're all connected and we are feeling the vibe. And also with jam sessions, we are listening to what each member is doing. We're looking at the band leader for signals as well. So we're all engaged and safe, and we're feeling connected. The social engagement system is also associated with helping activities, smiling, because and smiling is essentially a gesture that we're feeling safe right now. And sports as well, looking at our teammates' face, facial gestures to see, to interact and work together. Meditation activates the social engagement system, and we're going to talk about singing and wind instruments. So now we have our cavemen right here. So who's heard of fight or flight before? The response? Yeah. Okay, so what's your guys' understanding of fight or flight response?
Usually if you get afraid of something, you either or like stay there and fight, or you'll just run away from it or try to avoid it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, so exactly. So when we sense a threat in the environment, then we have less vagus nerve activation, and then our sympathetic nervous system, that's the nervous part of the nervous system that energizes us to either fight the threat or run away from it. So that is known as the mobilization response. And then when we have something that really very strongly startles us and scares us, where we just have this freeze response where we essentially would pass out, feel paralyzed, or even just avoid essentially avoid whatever the stimulus is. So these are the three different levels. I want to, and each of them works. So the social engagement system and the mobilization deals with this higher part of the vagus nerve, and then the immobilization is related to this lower part, and we'll talk some more about that. Okay, are you guys with me with all of that? Do you have any questions about it? Okay, cool. So that was the dense part of the talk. So now we're going to get into some of the more practical aspects while tying in. So we're going to talk about deep breathing now. So deep breathing activates our vagus nerve. So by doing deep breathing, we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, and that. Okay, thanks. So looks like we have 5 minutes. So we will. Okay. So yes. So so it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and that is the part of the nervous system that helps us to feel calm. And by doing deep breathing, we're shifting into the social engagement system. And again, that social engagement is where growth and healing occurs. So we're going to talk about the physiology behind deep breathing. So as we can see in our graphic here, there are nerve endings that end on the bronchi of the lungs, and then also on the heart as well. So when we take short breaths or just breaths with long exhalations, then the vagus nerve is activated. And by doing that deep breathing, there's a part of the heart that's known as the pacemaker of the heart. It's called the synovial node. So by doing the deep breathing, that helps us to calm our heart rate. And again, engage the social engagement. So right now we're going to do a deep breathing exercise. Okay. So to do this, we are going to just sit comfortably in our chairs. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes, or you can keep them open. You will notice how your hands rest in your lap. You will notice your shoulders feeling relaxed, and your legs calmly rested, your feet planted on the ground. So now I want you to take your left hand and place it on your stomach, and your right hand and place it on your chest. So when we're doing deep breathing, we want to make sure that our stomach is expanding. A lot of times, just the way we've grown up, we do a lot of breathing in our chest. So we want to make sure that when we're practicing right now, that our chest stays still and that our stomach's expanding. So right now, we're going to take a nice deep breath in, a breath out, nice and long breath out. breath in, breathing out. As we're breathing in, we're noticing our stomach expanding. Breathing out, we notice our stomach getting smaller. Breathing in, focusing on our stomach. And out, as our stomach gets smaller. Now as we breathe in, we're noticing the air going into our lungs, filling up our stomach. And we notice the air coming out as we take our exhale out. Now as we breathe in, we're thinking of a place that we feel warm and safe and happy. As we're breathing out, we're thinking about the sounds we hear in our safe space. As we breathe in, we're noticing the sights along with the sounds we hear in our safe space. We're breathing out, and we're thinking of what we smell as well. We're breathing in, thinking I am ready. We breathe out, feeling I am safe. We're going to do one more nice deep breath. And our last long exhale out now. And how are we feeling after that? Have you guys feel more calm after our exercise?
Yeah.
Have you done deep breathing before?
Yeah.
Without the visualization, that was good.
Visualization. So yeah, we talked about kind of the vagus nerve activating our parasympathetic nervous system when we're doing deep breathing. How does all this relate to music and singing? This is kind of why a big reason why you're here. What's the metal ear got to do with it? That's my dad joke for the presentation here. And so, according to Polyvagal Theory, when reptiles evolved to mammals, our jawbone, the middle ear bones detached from our jawbone, so that enabled us to hear higher frequency or higher bandwidth frequencies. So, and specifically frequencies associated with the human voice as well. So what's interesting is that a lot of, music that is played is in the range of the human voice, and we're able to process that information of the human voice, and adaptively that helps us to just communicate and be safe. But then also with these melodies in the human voice and hearing songs in the human voice, our social engagement system is enhanced. When we hear these melodies, our facial muscles are activated. The vagus is also connected to facial muscles. And then the parasympathetic nervous system is activated as well through a series of networks. So when we do deep breathing and we take our long exhales, singing is nothing but taking a breath in and doing long exhales. So it essentially mimics that effect. And we talked about the vagus ending on the lungs and the heart, and then also on the voice box as well. So when we're feeling emotional and we get choked up, like we feel our throat closing up, that's the vagus nerve reacting to that emotion. And then also when we hear emotion coming through in a song, in the voice of a song, then that is also contributing to the vagus nerve contributing to that. I guess another point that I thought was, as musicians, when we're on stage and we're performing and we're looking back at a crowd that's engaged with us and calm and we feel warm, we're feeling safe in that environment, and our social engagement system is further activated along with all of the melodies and being with our band members. But then also, if the crowd is not engaged and you're feeling really nervous and you might be sensing a threat and you might feel like gut wrenching feeling that too. Okay, so we have a sing along. Our session ends in about 2 minutes, so I'll go ahead and I'll play something. So if you feel comfortable to sing along, sing along. Or if you want to just kind of meditate on the words, then we'll do that. Come on in. You made it right in time for our meditation. So I'm just going to sing, and you can meditate and sing along. Come on in. Are you guys here for the talk on music? Are you here for branding? Oh, yeah, well that's right after this, so you're on the right note. Come on in. Okay, so these are some lyrics, so if you want to sing along, you can. Or you can just listen to the words. Where I'm going, I have no idea at all. I'll keep running. Please be there to guide me through this dark hall. What I'm doing, I have no idea at all. I'll keep trying. Please be there to guide me through this dark hall. What I'm doing, I have no idea at all. I'll keep trying. Please be there to guide me through this dark hall. We're gonna go back to the beginning here.
Okay.
Where I'm going, I have no idea at all. I'll keep running. Please be there to guide me through this dark hall. What I'm doing, I have no idea at all. I'll keep trying. Please be there to catch me just in case I fall. Okay, well, thank you for participating. Yeah, so that was the talk. These are, you can see me after if you're interested in some of the articles that I read and cited. And special thanks to these people, DC Music Summit, Jackson Brown, my research lab, and all of you for listening and being engaged. So
Awesome.